All right, everyone. If you don't know, if you didn't watch my intro video, I'll link it in the description. 2006 GMC Sierra. This is a 5.3. It's got a front end accident, and it's got a bad transmission. It's got a whole host of other crazy issues. But first things first is we got to figure out if we can fix this transmission cheaply. Because if not, and it's is it worth it to fix all the other stuff? That's what it's all about, right? So we got to pull the transmission, we got to break it down, we got to see what's wrong with it, we got to see if we can fix it. Now it's got no reverse and no second gear, which is a classic sunshell issue. It's a classic sunshell issue, so we're just crossing our fingers if that's the problem. Couple of things before we start. I did check the transmission fluid. Always check the transmission fluid before you go and start pulling transmissions, because if the transmission fluid is low, the gears can slip on you. Especially when you're going uphill. That's what ends up happening, right? So if you're going uphill, you're going to just feel it slip. That's happened to me many times on other vehicles. It's just low on transmission fluid. You put the transmission fluid in, boom, you're good. I checked this. It is good. To check it, you must run the vehicle, get it up to operating temp, then pull the dipstick. This is not like oil or anything like that. Transmission fluid, you need the car warmed up. It even says it on the dipstick. Now, to run this thing, though, I had a problem. One of the many problems with this truck. I had a pinned oil pressure gauge. Turns out it was a bad sending unit.
Let me hit this gas a little bit here. Well, you know what's crazy is that it's really not even moving when I hit the gas. All right. Just turn this key a little bit. Well, wouldn't you know it? Okay, well, all right. So this gauge is reading pin pressure with the engine off.
I have to say though, there was 10 quarts of oil in this stupid truck, and that threw me for a loop. I thought for sure, oh, that's the issue. There's 10 quarts of oil. I drained all the oil. I put new oil in because I didn't know if we used the right oil or not. That didn't solve the problem. It turns out if you just collect the key, this is a good way to check it. I didn't even think about doing this because I saw that I had 10 quarts of oil, which is ridiculous. The thing takes 6. You turn the key. You don't turn the truck on. You don't turn the engine on. You just turn it over to whatever accessory. And if that gauge goes all the way to pinned without the engine running, bad sending unit or bad gauge. So we're not worried about running the truck. I started it up, ran it for a while. Check transmission fluid, it's good. All right, so we are ready to go. I have the car jacked up on 4 jack stands. If you're doing this job, highly suggest you use 2 jack stands in the front for drainage purposes. It's a little more difficult to drain this stuff drain the transfer case and the transmission when it's still level. But if it's pitched, it's gonna make it a lot easier, right? I have 4 jack stands underneath there for a couple of reasons. One is I got a film underneath there. I need more room. And another thing is I'm a bigger guy, so it's nice to have a little extra room. But yeah, 2 jack stands will help on the drainage. Make sure you chock your wheels if you're running 2 jack stands. Gotta chock those back wheels. Don't trust the parking brake. Put the parking brake on, don't trust it. And chock them front and back because you don't know which way it's gonna roll. Now, it may not roll at all. Your stuff might be level as any, but don't take a chance. Chock the wheels. Jack stands, I'm using these 6-ton Pro lifts. Now, you might be saying, 6 ton? What is it? I didn't realize this truck weighs 24 tons. It doesn't weigh 24 tons. You need the height. That's what, as far as I'm concerned, is that I buy the biggest jack stands I really can without spending $1 zillion. Those Pro lifts, I got 6 of them. They're awesome. I'll link them in the description. I used them on the Ram. The Ram weighs 9,000 pounds. So it's an absolutely great jack stand. Check them out if you need them. All right. First thing we got to do, drain that transfer case. Let's do it.
So let's crack this. Now, we didn't want this to shoot out because all we got is a bucket. There we go. Okay, rear Driveline. This might actually be 11 mils. I'm not completely sure, but I got 7/16 and we're taking it off. Oh, there it is. And now what we're going to do is pull this out. And it might drip a little bit. Okay, now we got the other front shaft here. Now you can't just pop this one off like you did the back one. I mean, it pops off the same way, but you got to remove the boot that's back there. I'll show you that. Okay, there's a boot back here that we got to detach, and so that means we got to take off these. I assume these are 15s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this boot, we just got to detach it from the transfer case side. It's one of these like compression type clips. It's not the ones where you screw in. Yeah, we'll have to replace that, obviously. I worked the hell out of this thing on the back side. Oh, that hurt. Oh, Jesus, man. Oh, man, I'm in a lot of pain right now. Oh, that just moved. Oh, baby. Now we're talking. I got lucky here. This thing was easier. Let's see if we can... You know what? Maybe I was wrong about the side we need to detach. You don't want to clip the boot, that's for sure. Okay, all right. Let's try now. Whoa, come on, here it is. So, there it is right there. Okay, we need to disconnect the O2 sensors, and this is on the outside of the car. Oh, well, you know what I mean. It's on the outside of the frame right there. There's these two. And this one, the driver's side, is... Where the heck is that thing? There. One is up in here, I believe, right? Yeah, pretty sure it's up in there. And then that's the rear one. And then the other one is right there. You see the blue clip? Which way am I going here? No, that did not work. It seemed like it worked there, but it didn't work. Nope, it just ran right off. All right. Oh, jeez. Better if at angle here for me. Oh, I would say we're gonna bust this thing. The driver's side, 3 bolts for the cat on the side, those all broke. And if you say, oh, darn, that was actually good, because the passenger side, all those nuts rounded off. So we can't break them. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you just got to pop out. There we go. What an oily mess this thing is. Did I jack up too hot? No, I didn't. Basically, we're just touching it right now. All right, coming on the other side. You know you want to be a 21. Yes. Okay. That looks like a 15. Oh yeah. No problem. Yeah, well, it kind of does feel like I gotta jack up the transfer case just a little bit more. Now the transfer case, I should point out, is it can't fall because there's like a torsion bar support over here. So it would just fall on that, but okay, we got the tension off of it, it seems like. There it is. All right, there's the support. I should be using a full face shield the entire time working on this stupid thing. Okay. Look at this rinky-dink freaking ratchet I'm using. We gotta do the starter shimmy here. Okay. Okay, maybe you can see right there. There's a bolt, and it's right in. That's where you take the starter out. There's 3 of those. You got to turn the engine over, and you can just catch a glimpse of it by looking right through this spot. So you got your ratchet. It's going to make life a lot easier with a ratchet. It's a 1/2-inch ratchet. I wish I had a longer handle than this, but that's all right. And you can just look in and turn it until you see the nut. And then go over and undo that one, then come back, turn it until you see the next one. There's 3 of them. Now we're talking. Okay, I'm all set up here to catch this transmission fluid. There's no drain plug on this transmission pan, so we got to go around and undo these bolts. I have a masonry bucket as our catch pan. Now, this is very, very handy. I highly suggest you invest in one of these. It's very big. I'm fairly certain these are 13. Oh my god, it's freaking loose as hell. Dude. Dude, this is crazy. Watch this. Look at that. Okay. Oh, I forgot to attach this. Yeah, okay. There's just a clip on the top. That clip comes out from here. That's what holds it into this spot. You'll see it if you have to do this. And then this piece, you just squeeze this. And it comes out of this little slot right there. But we have to take out that. Yeah, so just a little twist with the pry bar. And you'll get this thing to pop off. And then I guess you just lay it down. Oh, yeah, okay, we got to get this off now, too. This has got to come off, right? Yes. So how do we take this off? Pull that and figure this out. Oh, what did we do? Did we break it? Aha! Okay, so let's look at this. How bad do we screw this thing up? You know, I don't think we screwed it up that bad, actually. Okay, we'll put this back on. This comes off because so that you can reset these wires, like the pins. The pins that go in here, you have to be able to access those. You take this thing off, so it should come back on pretty easily. While this is draining, I'm going to take a look at this transfer case and maybe even crack these bolts. That's probably a good idea. See, these are the nuts right here. You can see them right there, I assume. Right? Well, there's a bunch of them here. And the hardest one is this top one right here. It's right in the center. And you have no room. You need... Sorry if I keep hitting the camera. I don't have much room down here. But you need like a stubby ratchet. Like a real short stubby. I have a stubby. This is what I'm using as a stubby, but it's not super short. It's just short. So I have a wobble on it. And you pretty much need to go, you can't do this, you need to go like this. Because you're hitting the floor plan, the floor plan. Oh the floor pan. I have my knee right underneath here, and that's basically allowing me to just shimmy it out and also hold it so it doesn't fall. So there it is right there. Just tip it. And that's it right there. I just want to be careful of the shifter, electronic shifter. That's right there. Okay. We have to now remove those 3 bolts on that side. This easy out is, this is a 3/8 or a socket. So you got a 3/8 here, or you put a socket on it. Now the socket thing kind of doesn't work that well, because if you don't have much room, then you can't really do that. I'm hoping we got enough room here. Doesn't look like it though. Okay, well, we're on. Now, I don't know if it's stripping or turning it or breaking it. I really don't know at this moment. Definitely turning it. It's coming off. These things are amazing. Well, this is an interesting development. These easy outs are freaking awesome. I don't exactly know what's happening. Something's definitely happening now. And I don't think it's stripping. I think it's breaking. Which, give it to me, baby. I'll take it. You know, truck, I'm trying to make you better here. You're really fighting me. You know, do you want to stay broken for the rest of your life? You want to go to a junkyard? I can now see what's going on. It was actually loosening. Would you look at that? Okay, so this set, I'm just going to talk about this quickly. Rex Betty is REXBETI. I'll link it in the description. This thing is freaking awesome. It wasn't even that expensive. It was less than $30. This thing is just so good. You couldn't do it without it. I mean, you really can't do it without it. Now that we have this thing detached from the headers, we might as well just attach it here now. I mean, it's probably going to break too. That's feels like it, right? There we go. That's one broken. Okay, that broke too. Good. There it is. And it'll slide between your jack stands. Okay, so those are the 2 transmission cooler lines. There's a little rubber cap, and underneath that rubber cap is a clip that you need to just pry out. Yeah, I mean, I'm close, but... Oh, there it is. Ha, Jesus, look at that. Do that. And let me show you how it is right now before I touch it. You can get it like this. See that? Where one edge is up. You're in good shape. Just don't lose it. So that's why the pick is really important, so that you can hook it. But I tell you what, I don't know if I can hook it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's it. We got it. And this thing could spring out and fly all over the place, but nope, we got this one. All right. And then we'll just, yep. We are disconnected here. Now all we got to do, all we got to do is disconnect the bell housing from the engine. Easier said than done, I can tell you that. Let's lower the transmission, and finally, and see if we can get some access here. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Now I have a good view of the engine here too. I can see the engine tilting up, but there's nothing that's, oh Jesus. So I can't tell if it didn't hit anything. Oh Jesus! All right, so we still can't lower it. Why? What is happening right now? Now there is one thing that might actually be jamming it up, and that is that dipstick. Let's take that. Well, it needs to be taken out anyway, obviously. So let's take it out now. We're going to go right for a half inch. I don't screw around with this 3/8 anymore. Oh, you know what? Jeez, look at that. I have a view of the dipstick, right? The dipstick too. There it is. Look at that. All right, so that's out. Let's see if I can get to everything. It's not exactly a ton of room here. All right, I'm going to show you where that, so you can see that top bolt. It's basically impossible to see with it. It's not a bolt; it's a nut. Let's take a look. If you probably can't, well, maybe you can, you can't. I want to put an arrow on where it is. Let's just crack it and then we'll put it back. One thing I want to show you though is that, and sometimes it's not clear. I want to show you the situation here because I took one of them out just to show you. This is the bolt that's in there. And you can see it's a little strange, right? Well, I'm actually holding the nut, so it's a little confusing. This is actually not really a nut. This is the top of a bolt, and this stud sticks out. Now, there's two spots where there's a nut on this side. It holds a plate that holds fuel rail, or not fuel rail, but the fuel lines. And also the transmission dipstick on the other side, there's a 13. Once you take those nuts off, you still need to take this off. Take this out. This bolt goes through the bell housing into whatever, the back of the engine. All right, before I go completely nuclear on this thing, I want to see if what's stopping this transmission from coming down, like from lowering any further, is this cross member. Now, I don't think we're really supposed to have to take this thing off, but it's easy enough, and the transmission's supported, right? Oh, well, barely. We're going to know right away if this is the issue. Look at that. That's coming down. All right. Before I go any further, I'm going to look at it. Ah. There's a ton of room in here now. Beautiful. All right. So without a doubt, taking that cross member out was the key to this entire thing. If this is the first time you're doing this job, you might say to yourself, oh, wait a second. This means when I take all these bolts out, the transmission is not being held up by anything. Very important, right? The transmission is not held on like studs. Like, for instance, let's say it was like the studs were sticking out of the engine and the bell housing was over this and you took off a nut, but it was still hanging from this. That's not the case. There it is. That's it. It's loose. Okay. I'm holding the jack. Maybe you can't see it. I don't know. At the bottom of this jack, there's a bar here. And I'm going to roll the jack and the transmission towards the back of the car. And it should just pull away very freely. Unless we have an issue. But I don't think we do. Well, make sure these wheels are straight. Okay, we are free. We're gonna go very slow. Oh, whoa, whoa, ho, ho, ho. What? Oh, it's gonna fall. Oh, okay. Oof. Okay, so what we need to do is, got a big mallet here. So, let's keep this close. Pretty much anything could tip this thing over. Like, anything still attached on one side could flip this over. All right, wow. Okay. Oh, geez. We're down all the way. Okay. All right, there it is. Cardboard, very important.
All right, transmission is out, and I am gonna get all set up, get my bench all set up. The next thing you'll see is this thing on the bench. We're gonna start taking it apart and see what's wrong with it. Hopefully we can fix it. All right. All right. Oof, ton of fluid just came out. And a bunch of weird stuff came out too. Okay. So let's... Whoa! Holy moly! That is not good. That's a whole ton of metal. This is the filter. Definitely going to replace this. Doesn't feel that heavy. When you buy a filter, sometimes it comes with a gasket, like the gasket that goes around here, which I definitely need, right? Obviously, you always replace the gasket. And this is the gasket from the pan, just breaking apart right here. We're going to have to scrape this thing clean. We'll scrape this thing clean. You can see where it ended right there. I just broke this piece off. But you can buy a filter, a gasket, and it also sometimes comes with these solenoids. These solenoids are, you can replace these, which is kind of a good idea. And since I'm going to be reusing a lot of this stuff, Jesus, would you look at that? That piece of metal's just caught right in there. Got to be very gentle with this stuff. You don't want to replace one of these wiring harnesses. That's money. I think this thing could be like, I don't know, $60, $70. And, oh, I screwed up. I've already screwed up. Squeezing this and giving it like a pop. There we go. It takes a little while to get this thing to go, but eventually you gotta have this part up and you gotta kind of pop it out. And then once you do that, this thing pops out really easy. You gotta take this solenoid out though, because you gotta get to this bolt. not, oh yeah, that's right. I also got to remove this piece. It's 10 mil. Okay, so got to remember different size bolts here. All right, now I got the harness, got to be careful with it. So this is the torque converter, and there's going to be a bunch of fluid in here. All right, before we go any further, I should take out these T50s that go around this bell house. I'm sorry if you hear a fan going in the background. I just got it trying to circulate the hot air. It's pretty cold in here. These T50s can be a real nuisance. So I'm going to give you 2 tips. The first tip is that you really need to use a T50 plus. What is a T50 plus? A T50 plus is where the teeth are like at least twice the size as a normal T50. I don't even know why they make T50s. It doesn't make much sense to me. But the T50 plus is what you need. And there's going to be a less likely that you strip the T50. So T50 plus, I'll link them in the description. They're not that expensive. I mean, I have a set here of pluses. But usually what happens in a set, this is a Nico set. Usually what happens is that it'll be like 3/8 drive and half drive and then quarter drive. But in this particular case, you really need a half drive. And T50s usually come in 3/8. It's a specialty item. So this is a special half-inch drive T50 plus. I'm going to link this in the description. I bought a pack of 4 of these for like 15 bucks. So they're not expensive at all, and I think one was like 10 bucks, so $15 you get 4 of them. It's good to have around because, I mean, these can get so stuck that you can break these. Now, this leads into my second tip. This punch right here. See this big heavy punch? This is what you want to do. Now I've already taken out one right here. And I should explain how these get stuck too, because that'll help you really comprehend the issue a little bit better. I can undo this one by hand right here. Why? Because it's not stuck in the threads. That's not what's going on here. The bolt has fused to the bell housing, and that's what you're trying to break. As soon as you break that loose, you can pretty much undo it by hand. It's really unbelievable. So I'm going to show you on this one right here. You're going to put a punch in, a nice long punch, because look how far we got to get in would be nice. It's a very blunt end. It's not a pointy end. You put it right there in the center. And I'm just giving it like 5 or 6 decent ones. And now I'm going to try and undo it with the impact. Now this isn't a very heavy duty impact. This is only 250. Actually have a bigger one on order, but it's not here yet. So let's put it in here and let's see if it undoes. If it doesn't do, we use a breaker bar. All right. So that did nothing. You know, I'm gonna hit it. So that's it, really, right there. That ratchet strap, you kind of can't do it without the ratchet strap. I mean, if you still had the pan on, maybe you could do something, I guess. Okay. Check this side. Make sure we don't see any cracks. No, it's looking good. All right, so two things here is that the first thing is that there's this little rubber O-ring, and if you're going to reuse this, be careful. If you don't get this O-ring off, you can't get this, I don't know what this thing is called, pump housing maybe or something like that. And then, not this hole goes straight through, but there's another hole right next to it, and if you put a little screwdriver in here, you can just pop it out. Well, I have to say, this fluid in here doesn't look horrendous. Well, this is we're going to start to really see what's happening now. I don't see anything crazy here. There's a gasket. We'll definitely be replacing that. There's like a little pin in here, a really annoying pin. This is the band, and usually these things get replaced. You're taking it, you know what I mean? You're going to be taking it out. So, yeah. These dark spots, that's from the band compressing on it. And if there's a lot of thin dark spots, not really a big deal. But when you get a lot of thick ones that kind of look like this, usually you want to replace it. You know what? It's actually not that bad. What ends up happening is that what ends up happening is this band compresses this center part. And there'll be a gap. And if you put a straight edge on this thing, you'll see like a pretty big gap. But like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? You'll see like a curve to it. But, I don't know, I mean, this thing is looking great. Okay, so now, there's a planetary here, and it's held on by a snap ring from hell, if I remember correctly. Headlamp is what it's all about, man. Okay, yeah. So what I did is that I put a flathead screwdriver on one side. Let me take this thing out and I'll show you how it fits in. This whole thing can come out now, right? Well, that's weird. So here's the planetary. This is jammed up in here big time. All right, I've been working on this for a while to get this out. Now, this is the planetary, right? The planetary is in there. It's held on by that snap ring. And the planetary fits into this. This is a reaction shaft, right? And behind that reaction shaft, there is a bearing. Then there's the sun gear, and then the sun shell, which is right here. It was stuck. So what I did was, I just came out here again. This is the next day. I just came out here, and I was like, let me try something. I put this side down, and I got a mallet and a flathead, and I came in from the opposite side, and I just went in there and I really, really went around the edge and just gave it a whole bunch of whacks. And we are definitely out a lot further now. So I'm assuming we can get this out. I don't exactly know how long it's going to take because it's still stuck, but it definitely was moving. So I'm going to see if we might have to turn it upside down again and whack it a few more times. So let me, because it's definitely not. I can feel that bearing though right there. It's totally loose. And when I turn it, turns, and it does not turn left. It can only turn clockwise, this thing. Now this is totally loose, but the reaction shaft can only turn this way. It can't turn this way. All right, so let's turn it, meaning if you went to go turn it this way and it wasn't going, you're like, oh, something's wrong. No, it doesn't turn that way. So let me flip this up again and go back to hitting this thing with the mallet and the screwdriver. I mean, we're going to know when this thing drops because it's just going to fall on the ground. You should not have to do this. There it is. That should not have to be done. The only reason for that needs to be done is if this thing's totally screwed. The sun gear is still in there. It's not what I expected to see. Oof. That is all burned up. Alright, well, I've been working on this now for a little while and I cannot get this gear out of here. Unfortunately, I unfortunately think I need to go further now. There's a snap ring here. It's right there. And oh, there's another piece of metal right there. What is going on? I got to keep going until I find something that's broken, right? I mean, I can't. I thought for sure I was going to be able to stop right here, but I can't. It's frustrating. I didn't want to go any further than this. But, I mean, you can look here. It's very dark right there. And you can see that reaction shaft is totally burnt up. I don't know. Well, all right. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to take out this snap ring that's in here. Oh, would you look at that? Alright, now, let's see how, where's the silencer? This is confusing. Did it just shoot out and onto the floor or something? I don't know what happened to that silencer. But here is, this is the reverse pack. Honestly, looks perfect. I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, I'm not even going to open up the rest if I don't have to. Oh, okay, this is a bearing. Oh, here we go. Jesus Christ, the silencer fell into the back. There it is right there. Look at all this metal. Whole bunch of metal here. Tons of metal. So this is the rear planetary right here. Oh, yeah. Okay. We have a smoking gun. The freaking rear planetary exploded. You think that's supposed? That's not normal. The crazy thing is that the sun shell, which is what I thought it was, freaking mint. It's dead on. I mean, the teeth are perfect. How crazy is that? All right, I've been thinking about this now 15, 20 minutes. Something actually just occurred to me. Just occurred. In the time that I shut the camera off and the time I thought for 15, 20 minutes and turned it on, I had thought about something that may be very helpful. We're going to leave that to the end for a second. The two things that I said we could do is, one, we could fix this thing, or two, we could take the one from the Suburban. Let's talk about fixing this one. I thought it was just going to be a sun shell. Absolutely. There was really no question in my mind. I said to myself, this is going to be a sun shell. So it's not a sun shell. It's like freaking everything else with the reverse. It's not the clutch pack, though. Clutch pack looks good. But it needs a new rear planetary. It needs a new sun gear. It needs a new reaction shaft. And then this, I don't know what this is. Rear planetary housing or something like that. I don't know exactly what this. This thing's all burned up. The teeth look all right, but I don't know. Let's say that thing's good. Well, these three things, it's over $200, and I'm not talking about good AC Delco parts. That rear planetary AC Delco is $350. It's $100 in some junk company. So we're talking like $200 here, and then what? I'm going to put the sun shell back in? That's a dangerous maneuver. Let's say I did put it back in. $200, and then we got our miscellaneous stuff that we have to do, which is all the seals. I got to do a filter. I got to do the strap. I got to do the solenoids. I got to do this thrust bearing. There's a lot of stuff. I got to do this piece. I forget what this thing's called. It's like a race or something like that. It goes inside the sun gear. We're looking at $350, $400 probably. Now, it's not crazy, right? $400 to have a fixed transmission, but it's not a rebuilt transmission, which means that something that I don't change could fail and blow up the engine, blow up the transmission, and then all these nice new parts from China that I put in, those things could explode, right? And that would really suck because I just spent a whole bunch of money trying to fix it. There's another little thing, is that since I got all these pieces of metal, I mean big chunks of metal. I mean, look at this. These are just two monster pieces of metal. And I looked in here and there's more. Look at this. Look at that big piece. Hopefully it's in focus. It's gigantic pieces. This is like a quarter-sized piece of metal right here. And I'm looking in here with a flashlight. Tons in there. So something that I didn't think I was going to have to do because I thought it was that sun shell is I'm going to have to break all that down back there, right? And there's like a spring system that needs to be compressed, and I need a special tool that I do not have. Because the reason I have to break it down is because I got to clean the whole thing. I didn't think I was going to really have to clean it that much. But you got to get all those. I'm looking in there. There's still like, like screw head size pieces of metal down there. That's not so good. So I mean that doesn't cost money. That just costs time. The tool I can maybe make. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. It's a tool that compresses the springs so that you could like pull a piece out. But yeah, so. A lot of money to fix this one, and it's risky. The next thing, the Suburban, I could take that transmission out. It renders that thing completely useless now, though, and I wanted to avoid that. And it's one thing taking, like, the AC belt and tensioner off of it, which I was going to have to do. That's like $50, right? So, let's take that thing off. Right? And if I have to sell the Suburban or if I want to sell it or something, I can just replace that. But you start taking the transmission out of it. This thing it's done for. It is junk then. And I kind of wanted to avoid that. But it can be done. I mean, I can do it. The third option, which has just happened, like 3-4 days ago, I go to the scrapyard to drop off some metal. And in the aluminum pile, I see a 4L68. And I say to myself, somebody junked this 4L68. We should buy this thing and do like a teardown video. What went wrong with this 4L68, right? That's pretty cool. It's a cool little story, right? I asked the guy, I was like, what is going on with this thing? He said, oh, somebody junked it. Now, it didn't have a torque converter on it, right? So somebody pulled the torque converter on it, but everything else, it's all sealed up. And he said, oh, I got a transmission guy that comes like once a week and pays me for, a core charge, a core, he pays me a core fee for it, and he takes them. And I was like, okay, like, what does he pay you? He's like, $30 $30 transmission. I was like, I'll give you $30 for that. He said, okay. So I give him $30, I take the thing. I got it here in the driveway. So what if there is a working rear planetary, a working reaction shaft, a working sun gear, right? What if we open that thing up and we try and salvage some parts from it? $30. Maybe a used OEM planetary, rear planetary, is going to be better than some new China planetary as far as I'm concerned. And it's free. Well, it's $30. But I don't know. That's what I'm thinking we should do. It would be stupid not to open it up and see if we can salvage some parts from it. So here's what I think. I think, right, it would be dumb not to do that. So I think that's what's going to happen. I got to clip. You're not going to fit another 4L60E on it. Oh, there is one thing with that 4L60E, and if anybody knows about these transmissions, that one that I have in the driveway right now is a 6TDD. That's the designation on it. And I know that is not from a 5.3. That's from a 4.2 liter. Now, what is the difference between a 4L60E from a 4.2 and a 5.3? I don't think like everything's different. You know what I mean? It doesn't make much sense. So why would they call it a 4L68? So I think, maybe the input shaft's different, right? That fits into the engine. That makes sense, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe the length of it is different because the 4.2 liter, it was like a Trailblazer or Acadia, GMC Acadia, or they made like a Buick Rainer. Who knows? They probably sold 4 of those cars. An Isuzu Ascender, I think, had a 4.2 liter in it. GM made the Isuzu Ascender. And then like a few other ones. The Isuzu Ascender is like the Isuzu Trooper, next generation Isuzu Trooper. So, I don't know exactly what the deal is with that. It's possible that thing isn't the same at all as this one. But I think we got to open it up and find out. Now, I got this table completely covered in stuff. So I think I could move a lot of this stuff to the left. And I can still order parts. I can order all the seals, right? You know what I mean? All the gaskets. I can order the filter. I can order some of the stuff I know I will not take from that other transmission. And then maybe either the next video or the video after that, we should open that thing up. What went wrong with this 4L6? Can we salvage this 4L68? I think that's what we need to do. There's more stuff that I got to do on this truck before we put the transmission back in. So that's going to be other videos. I got to do the fuel lines. I'm going to do the rear main seal on the engine. And there is the oil pressure sensor that I'm going to do. These are all like things that you should do if you take the transmission out. Yeah, in fact, while I was underneath there, I didn't mention this while I was doing it, but I smelled some gas when I was moving those things. I think one of them might have cracked, and I smelled the little fumes. So the fuel line's got to come out. It's not hard. It's not hard when the transmission is out. Absolutely. It is so much easier. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to order some stuff that I know that I need to order, and we're going to move all these parts over to one side, and we're going to break down another 4L60E, and hopefully we can take some parts from it, save some money, and put this thing, man, we are going to Frankenstein this thing up and see if we can get this thing back in the truck. If we're lucky, we find. If not, hey, I'll pull the Suburban one if we have to. Okay. All right, everyone. Whew, man, I did not expect this. I really, really thought it was going to be that sun shell. It's a little bit of a letdown, but you just got to keep on going. You know what I mean? That's really it. That's what it is. We got to keep on going. All right, everyone. Catch you on the next one. See ya.